everyone, welcome back to Astroways. Last episode we talked about all different types of spectral charts. Spectral charts are very rare, especially real spectral charts. You have fake ones and real ones. Say like every 1,000 people you find around 100 of them have spectral charts, but if you look into them you'll find about 70 of them are fake. And in those 30 real ones you find about 15 of them are real follower charts. People with follower charts, no matter what situation they're in, born poor or rich, they always have a big passion in life, like an important destiny they have to fulfill. You never see them satisfied with a 9-to-6 job or depending on parents. They always want something different. There are 3 types of follower charts. Actually, there are 4. But 3 of them are the main ones and the 4th one is like a mix of them 3. Before we get into them, I need to remind you the definition of a follower chart. A follower chart is when there's no supporting elements in the whole Bazi chart. That one to begin with. Or you have one and only one supporting element, but is highly restricted or merged by other elements. Means if you had one resource element, but is killed by your strong output element, or successfully merged by other opposing elements, then you must have no other elements that can make your Daymaster stronger. Basically, your Daymaster is very weak. It has no help, no friends. So it has to become a follower. But follow what element? Here it comes to different types of follower charts. First one is output follower. Means your output element is the most powerful one in your chart. Second one is the wealth follower. Means the wealth element is the most powerful one. Then we have the power follower, means your power element is the most powerful one. And if you have equal portion of output, wealth, and power elements, then we call it a mixed follower chart, or a momentum follower, or tendency, or an all-you-can-eat buffet follower. Each of these special structures has its own conditions. Let's start with the output follower chart. In Chinese, it's called 从而格. If you translate it, it means children follower, because our output element is our children element. This type of chart has very strong output elements, especially the month pillar. It has to be taken by output element. Here we have a very extreme example. This person's Daymaster is middle. He has only water in his chart, which is his output element. Then we say he has a very pure output follower chart. People with this type of chart are born to be famous. Output element is the fame and talent. They're very smart. And when they come across wealth element in their 10 years luck pillars, water produces wood, output makes wealth. They're super good at earning money. Very easy, juicy money. Whatever they do, money just comes along. Output follower charts, people love coming across wealth element. It makes smooth transition from talent to money. They also like more of output element, even a little bit of parallel element, because parallel elements produces more output elements, but only a little bit, because too much parallel elements can damage wealth. However, every coin has 2 sides. It's not guaranteed that all your life you only come across good elements. You have ups and downs. You have ups and you have downs. Output follower charts hates resource and power element. Resource elements can offend their output element. Pay attention to the word I use, offend, not restrict. Offend. Why offend? Because output follower charts people are very proud. They're used to being in the center of the group. All they have is their reputation. And resource element is going to ruin their reputation. They also don't like coming across power elements. Power can hold back their fame, especially if they don't have much wealth element to ease the transition between output and power. It's even worse. Best scenario of an output follower chart is when wealth element enters his life, because if you only have output and nothing else, means you're famous, but got no money or power comes with the fame. What you have is an empty title. An interesting fact for the output follower chart people is because their output element is also their children element, so they tend to be quite close to their children, and the children tend to be quite successful people as well. Okay, next one we're going to talk about is our wealth follower chart, which means your main element is the wealth element, especially the earthly branches of your month pillar. And besides the month pillar, when you look at the chart, wealth element takes up most of the room of the chart. Wealth element is a bit different from output element. Output element is produced directly by the self element, by the day master, so there's no bridge needed. However, wealth element doesn't have a direct connection with the self element. On the contrary, wealth element is restricted by the self element. Imagine this, if self element is a tiger, I'm talking about tiger in the wildlife, not tiger in zodiac signs. Let's not use tiger, let's say a lion. In wildlife, the lion eats deers. Okay, so your self element is lion, and your wealth element is deer. Lion eats deer, and deer is scared of lion. That's in a normal chart. In a wealth follower chart, there are tens of thousands of deers, and there's one single lion. As soon as the lion is approaching, or even thinking about approaching one of the deers, thousands of deers comes over, kicking, fighting the lion. The lion can't fight back because there's only one lion against tens of thousands of deers. It loses vantage. So the lion gave up, compromised, and followed deers. This is the main situation of wealth follower charts. A good wealth follower chart has to have certain amount of output because output is the bridge between self element and wealth element, and it also produces wealth element. So in this type of structure, the output element is the key to success. Now let's take a look at this chart. You see the day master is metal. There are 4 wood elements in the chart and one of them sits on the month pillar, the most powerful position in the chart. Some people may say, you said no supporting element is allowed in a follower chart, but this person has an earth element and earth is the resource element of metal. But if you remember back in the zodiac episode, we mentioned about the triads. Tiger, rabbit, and dragon together is the triad of wood. We have wood on the heavenly stems, so the triad transition is valid. Dragon is considered as a wood. So technically, this chart is dominated by wealth element and power elements. But because wealth element is much stronger than power one, so this chart is a wealth follower chart. However, it doesn't have output. When a wealth follower chart doesn't have output, we say it doesn't have security. It's like a lion and deers. Even the deers know that they outnumber the lion, but can never sleep sound because there's still a lion you can't ignore. Only when you put the bridge, put the distance between the lion and the deers, then they feel safe. So this person, his best time of life is when he comes across water pillars. Then we say his money is secured. He can sleep well at night. Otherwise, in these pillars of resources and parallels does no good to his chart. Wealth follower chart people love money. They put money before family, before friends, before everything. Okay, that's the wealth follower charts. Next one we have is the power follower charts. Power follower chart is similar to wealth follower chart. It has to have a bridge. And this bridge is the wealth element. Money gives you power. If you only have power and no wealth, we call it a low structure chart. Same as the wealth follower chart with no output. They are considered as a low quality version of follower chart. Power follower chart people crave for power. They're the true control freak. They love being leaders and telling people what to do. And power follower chart has two types. If your power element is direct officer, you tend to be a political leader. And if your power element is indirect officer, you tend to be an army or war leader. Here comes our example. Daymaster is water. The whole chart is full of earth and fire. Fire is good. Fire produces earth. More money gives you more power. However, this person is not that lucky in his early age. From age 6 to 26, he was full of metal, the resource element, which weakens the power element. The power element now has to go produce metal. Then he has 40 years of water. Water is his parallel element. It breaks the follower chart structure. Then he has another 40 years of wood. Wood is the restriction of earth. It restricts the power element. What we need is more fire and earth. But he only gets that later on in his life, which we don't know if he can make it to that age. A good power follower chart person can be very, very successful, as powerful as a president of a country or a general of an army. This requires a lot of luck in the 10 years luck pillars. Last but not least, we have the mixed follower chart. Now that we've seen the main three follower charts, this one basically combines those three together. The reason why it's separate from those three is because sometimes when you look at the follower chart, you can't really tell which element is the strongest. Output element, wealth element, and power element seems like they're all quite evenly strong. Here we have this example chart. Daymaster is wood. You have output fire element on top of it, and it has root. Wealth element on top of it, and it has root. Power element on top of it, and also has root. Most mixed follower charts are quite good, because usually they're friends with all output, wealth, and power elements. They're quite easygoing. The only weak one is the Daymaster itself. So as long as you don't come across parallel elements and resource elements, everything's fine. This person has 20 years of wood in his early age, but because wood doesn't have roots, and yang wood merges with yin earth anyway, so it's not a big deal. Later on, 20 years of resource, even though water has no roots, but it still creates a threat to fire. The worst period is this 20 years of wood. Daymaster has root. It breaks the follower chart structure. However, this 10 years tiger is different. Tiger, monkey, and snake are at war. Who wins the war? Monkey wins. Why? Because monkey is in the strongest month position. The Daymaster merged with yang metal and turned into more metal. So we can't say this is a bad 10 years for this guy, but we can be sure about some life changes. Okay, so these are the follower charts. It's different reading comparing to normal charts. The example I gave you today are very pure structures. Pure structure charts are high quality charts. People with high quality charts, most of the time, they were born in a good family or all noble family and have a good foundation of life. However, there's also some small negative sides of having follower charts because your resource element, your mother element, is not what your chart likes. So as your parallel element, your friend's element, your chart doesn't like them, which means you may not be close with your mother, you may be separated with her from a young age, you don't have many friends, or you always have issues with your friends, etc. Bazi chart is a fair system. You can have a lot of money and power, but you're not close with your family and friends. Even though having a high structure chart, you were born already ahead of the game, still, there's always things you need to watch out. Next episode, we continue on the follower charts, but we're going to talk about the fake follower charts, not the real ones. Not as pure as the charts we have today. Having a pure and high structure chart is very rare after all. Okay guys, that's all for today. If you want to have your personal chart reading with me, you can email me at astroways.info@gmail.com or find me on Facebook at Astroways. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to know more about metaphysics, please subscribe my channel and I'll keep you updated.